Hello, everyone. I am dwangoAC, keeper of TASBot, and can you believe it? This is the 10th anniversary of TASBot at Games Done Quick events. There is one game that has been well known at Games Done Quick events that we have sort of done in the past, but not at the level you're about to see it, and that game, of course, is Super Metroid. This tool-assisted speedrun by Sniq is incredible. And to help me present it with me on the couch, I have...
Greetings from Germany, longtime viewer, first time commentating. My name is DarkXoa.
He really is from Germany.
It was a harrowing journey here.
Exactly. And also with me is...
Hello, I'm Stump.
And Stump. Those who know, Stump has been involved for a long time. All right, I can't say it enough. If you haven't checked out the shirt at the Yeti, it is so amazing. It's a cute little TASBot with a Metroid, and he's got a little arm cannon. It's beautiful. Anyway, also, for those of you who have not seen TASBot live yet, this is TASBot in his new frame. We've actually been using this for about 3 years. Huge credit to the entire team that put him together. But without further ado, I'm going to get this run started. There's one other thing you need to know about this run, and that is that this is a Super Metroid tool-assisted speedrun by Sniq. And we're using a cam hack fix in the encodes that we're showing you. From start to finish, we're going to be both saving the animals and killing the animals, and whichever outcome is ahead in the tracker is what we'll be showing you. So be sure to participate in that bid war. I want to see kill, eke out, save at least once. TASBot will get on the action too, so just be prepared for that. We're also doing some cam hack fixes that we'll describe in a little bit in the encode. I think we're ready to go. You ready?
Ready to go.
All right, let's get this run started in 3, 2, 1, go. Now, right off the bat, as you can see, Save the Animals is in the lead. If you manage to Kill the Animals in the lead, that icon will change to Save the Frames. So, get your donations in. DarkXoa, would you like to tell people what they're about to experience?
So this is the Super Metroid any % task by Sniq, like we said before. This run was published in 2018. At the time, it obsoleted the previous any % task by CP Adolf, and it beat that run by 1 minute and 40 seconds. It also was decided because the boss order in this run is almost the same as RBO with just one minor difference. We're going to do Kraid first. Since the boss order was so similar, it was decided that it would also obsolete the RBO task on TASVideos.org. So that run was by Saturn task, and it beat that run by 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Some interesting things to note about this run. So this run is where the Moonfall glitch debuted, and it completely revolutionized how RTA runs are done. It was at the time the biggest time save that had been found in a really long time. So we're going to see a lot of moonfalls and lots of cool things with that. Other glitches that are of note, we're going to use R mode with a reserve tank. So you don't usually see reserve tanks in any %. We're going to use R mode and convert that into G mode for some very cool stuff that we'll get into. We're also going to see extremely prominently super jumps. So as Dwango said before, this is a cam hack. The super jumps have a tendency of corrupting the graphics, and they corrupt them more and more as we do more of them. So we're using a Lua script with this task that fixes the graphics somewhat. It will do some janky stuff. In some other places, you're going to see some artifacts in the door transitions, and also some weird things happen with the cam scrolling in weird places where it shouldn't. But I promise you, we're trading those minor interruptions for what otherwise would be an insanely glitched out looking run at the end. That is really cool, by the way, so check that out if you're interested. You can find that on TASVideos.org. But we are here, and we are underway.
And what do you have to say about arm pumping?
Oh yeah, so the obligatory, every time Super Metroid's at a GDQ, we have to describe what arm pumping is. So you see that Samus is waving her arm cannon around in the air as she's running. Each time you change the position of Samus's arm cannon, it pushes her 1 pixel forward if she's moving forward. And so you can imagine that with tasks, we can use that absolutely everywhere and save just tremendous amounts of time. With RTA, it really depends on how much you're willing to do arm pumping, because it can get in the way of other inputs sometimes. So it's hard to say what it actually saves RTA, but just as a quick example, in a room where all you have to do is just run straight forward and you can arm pump the whole time, you can save like half a second as an example for in Speed Booster Alley in just that one room. So you can imagine it accumulates over time depending on how much you're willing to do it.
Brief moment to say Balthazar helped with the scripts that are allowing us to directly read the tracker data. HRI created the graphics you see on screen. A couple of people were involved in the cam hack fixes as well. Sniq made the save ending just in case. Normally we would not save the animals, but we made one as well. So there's always tons of people behind the scenes that I've also probably forgotten a few names that helped make this run be possible. If you want to get involved in the TASBot community, come on over to discord.gg/TASBot. We love being able to do these kinds of presentations, and it couldn't have done it without all the help that we get. So,
yeah, I know in the submission notes, Sniq specifically mentioned Total, Taco, Nobody Nada, and I think a few others that I'm not remembering off the top of my head right now. But lots of people put lots. Oh, and Eternized Dragon and Overfiend VIP, I know are others that he thanked.
You can
lots
see
of
the
people behind this.
You can see the complete author notes at tasvideos.org. Just look up Super Metroid.
So coming up here, we are on planet Zebus. It's going to be a pretty standard. One thing to note, this moonfall right here, this is the most time-saving moonfall that we have, RTA, that I know of at least. That's about 4 seconds in that room alone. So that was the big debut of moonfall that really revolutionized the way we play the game. So coming through here, pretty standard Super Metroid intro. We're gonna go grab our Morph Ball. You can see Morph oscillating what color it is on every frame. So we grabbed it on a yellow ball. So yellow ball wins. And coming up here, we're just going to grab a missile pack and then head up to get our bombs from Bomb Treezo. So good time for some donations.
Yeah. First things first, just want to let you know that Conception is going to be cosplaying as the King later tonight. That $10,000 incentive was met. Thank you, everybody. And the disparity between save and kill around less than $4,000. The gap is wide, but it can be closing, especially with donations like these. We have $50 from Shiny Zenny. Woo! They say, hey all, Zenny here. Just wanted to thank the GDQ and TASBot teams for putting my favorite game on the big stage again this year. Let's keep fighting cancer and, of course, kill the animals! Woo! Thank you, Zenny.
Thanks, Zenny. So anybody notice how long that elevator ride took? That was
long.
That was awful, wasn't it?
It'd be a shame if we could, skip them.
I don't know. We'll figure something out maybe. But anyway, we're coming up on our Bomb Treezo fight, or not fight rather. So normally we would grab bombs, and this door would close as soon as we grabbed the bombs, and we would have to fight this Bomb Treezo. But we're tasked, so we're going to do a Bomb Treezo skip, BT skip. So it involves a very specific setup to grab that item, and then it's 32 frame perfect inputs in a row. So lots of arm pumps, a frame perfect jump, a frame perfect door check, and then even still after that, it's a coin flip as to whether or not the door closes a frame early. So it is possible to do that RTA in PAL only. It's technically possible to do it in on the NTSC version, but it's very impractical. We did find a new arm pumping method that makes it theoretically possible, but the human setup just to be able to grab the item the right way is super impractical. Shout outs to Dr. Girlfriend if you're interested in more. She did a great video on why we'll never see NTSC BT skip in runs that details just how the Super Nintendo actually reads inputs and goes into huge detail. It's great.
Yeah. It's worth noting also that this tool-assisted speedrun was in 2018, and there have been some possible potential improvements since then. So there's always the possibility this could get even faster and crazier than what you're seeing now.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're coming up on our first route divergence. You're normally not going to see a reserve tank, but we need to grab one, like I said before, for our R mode and G mode glitches. So we're going to grab that, and we will describe those more in detail when we get there. But these enemies, for some reason, aren't showing up on the screen. That's one of the effects of that cam hack. There'll be some more interesting ones coming up. But this is the really big route divergence. So we're going back up here. We're going to do a moonfall, and then we're abusing a uninterruptible turnaround animation to keep building fall speed until we clip through the side of that. So what happened there is we did a moonfall, built up a lot of speed, clipped through the side of that platform, then did a frame-perfect unmorph or pixel-perfect rather, unmorph over the floor to store all of that fall speed, and chained it together with another moonfall to create just a ridiculous amount of fall speed, and fell through those powerbomb blocks that we normally would have to have powerbombs to get through. We'll be getting powerbombs early because of that, as well as an E-tank and a super missile pack. And that will allow us to get back out. But that's going to allow us to do go get X-ray. That's another item that we're going to get that normally we're not going to see in any percent runs, but is just going to enable a lot of really broken stuff that we will get to in just a moment. So probably another good time for donations.
You got it, you got it. The gap is closing between save and kill. About $3,000 between them. Come on, everybody, let's make this one for the ages. We got $1,000 from Fly Me to the Moon. Woo! Their comment reads, beep, boop, sacrifices must be made. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Huge thanks.
The Prevent Cancer Foundation thanks you for your donation. All right, where are we headed next?
So we are going to the Red Tower area in Red Brinstar. We're going to grab that X-ray item that I talked about before. It's going to allow us to do lots of broken stuff. Normally, you're supposed to have grapple beam, or at least space jump. Grapple beam being the intended way to get over there. But we are going to use some damage boosts. So damage boosting in this game is a little bit different than what we refer to in other games. In this game, you can abuse the knockback function. If you press and hold the jump button and away, whatever direction you're not facing, when you take knockback, it will send Samus flying. And so we're doing that in very specific ways to be able to traverse those spikes and get across these gaps, and then following that up with a continuous wall jump, a CWJ, at the very end. So we're able to do that in a very specific way, using as little health as possible. You'll notice throughout this run that health is a resource we use and spend accordingly. We will, at various points through this run, end up with very little health, and we use every bit that we have. So we're doing lots and lots of drop manipulation. There is a perfect example of it. Those two screes usually don't drop anything, or maybe you get a small health. There's a low chance of them getting hang missiles, and we got missiles from both of them because we're going to need those coming up. So we're on our way to Kraid's Lair. We're going to do a little CWJ because it's fun and it's fast.
Remind us what that acronym is again?
That is the continuous wall jump. So it's a usually frame perfect and sometimes even sub-pixel perfect alignment on a platform that you're jumping past to be able to do a wall jump off of it without changing direction. And it's very, very tight. Usually, if we do it RTA, it involves a very particular setup. So coming up, we've got Kraid. We got our first boss. This is going to be a pretty standard quick kill with a few minor tweaks. So when Samus takes damage, she is only rendered every other frame, and that saves on processing time. So normally this Kraid rising up is really laggy and takes a long time. But we got him to stand up real quick and then just sit back down.
And that Varia suit, I assume, saves us having to go get a bunch of energy tanks, right?
Right, so later in the game, we're gonna need to survive Mother Brain's Rainbow Beam, and that does 300 damage if you have Varia, 600 if you don't. It only checks for Varia, so this is the only suit that we're gonna get, but it saves us from having to get 3 other energy tanks instead. So we're not gonna get Gravity Suit, just Varia, because by the time Gravity Suit becomes available, we're not even gonna need it anymore. We're doing Phantoon last. So the boss order for this is Kraid, then Ridley, then Dragon, then Phantoon. Woo! That is a side effect of our cam hack. So just one of the little things that goes wrong.
It's still worth it, trust me.
Everyone? I just want to point out the save versus kill down there. The gap is less than $1,000, everyone. This is amazing. With donations like these, $50 from Jack and Dean saying TASBot is a literal frame-saving machine. Doing anything else seems just wrong. And our speed friends all across the world agree. Come on, let's do this for PCF, everybody. Let's go.
Woo! So you might notice that we skipped high jump boots. Normally when you come down to Upper Norfair, the first thing you're gonna grab is high jump boots and then go over and get the rest of your movement tech items, your speed booster and your wave beam. It turned out to be faster to skip high jump boots for now, and we'll pick them up on the way out of Lower Norfair just because you have to fall all the way back down and climb all the way back up. It's just not worth it. One thing to note, we've got a power bomb that we just laid. That seems like it's kind of useless, it's kind of weird, but it actually does something super important. So on the Super Nintendo, the sound chip has to clear before that door can start moving, and that lava noise in the background is taking up that sound chip's processing time. So we want to clear the sound chip by using a power bomb sound effect and get that door moving just a little bit faster. Tiny optimizations like that all over this run.
We do not have enough time for me to get so technical the way I want to about all of the intricacies between the main CPU and the audio processing unit on the Super Nintendo and exactly how unstable Super Metroid is. But believe me, it is pretty bad.
Yeah, for the time, this game was actually pushing the hardware of a Super Nintendo insanely hard. There are so many things that are just wonky about this game because of how hard it's pushing the hardware. So we've got our wave beam. Everybody wave. That's going to be important later because we're going to use it for a special beam attack, an X Factor, using a power bomb, charge, and wave, and we're going to use that to kill Ridley. We need a little bit of ammo here, and then we need to get into reserve tank range. We activated that reserve in the door, and what that did is it puts us in R mode, where the reserve activated, but it didn't actually do anything. It gave us some, but not much. And then we activated X-ray at a very particular frame, deactivated it at another very particular frame.
I'd like to point something out. The screen has changed.
Oh, we've got Kill.
That is because Kill the Animals has now taken the lead in this bid war. Currently $400 ahead with this $2,000 donation from Dan's Gaming saying, let's kill those animals. Let's go. Woo!
All right. Yeah. Are the animal lovers going to let that lie? You can get involved too, you know. All right, go ahead.
So yeah, we were able to convert that R mode into G mode, which deactivated the PLMs. You'll notice that there were a bunch of blocks that we just kind of walked through. That's because they were inactive because of G mode, and so we were able to get in the back door. There's some crumble blocks there that are usually a one-way. Other thing to note, we had a blue suit there. That was kind of weird. I'll talk about how we got that a little bit later, but it is important to note that you can't run while having blue suit. So if you press the run button and you're moving, that blue suit will just disappear like it had before. So once again, health at 1. Not a big problem because we're going to farm some health from these guys. They have to die anyways. We also need super missiles, so we manipulated drops pretty heavily there and got a bunch of super missiles. We need a couple more. We're going to use one on this door. We need 10 supers and 10 power bombs, and we have exactly that now.
All right, be prepared for a fascinating fight.
So this Ridley fight is super cool. We're going to use those X Factors and a super missile on each one. So each particle of that X Factor does 300 damage, and then the super missile does 600 damage because it does double damage to Ridley. And so each one of these causes quite a bit of lag. So we're very heavily manipulating Ridley to move in ways that we want to, so that we can get him to be hit by those X Factors, but also cause as little lag as possible.
And then watch this door movement. As he approaches this door, he comes in. And Sniq just timed that perfectly. That was frame perfect as the door could be opened.
So we're on our way out and need to get some power bombs. So we did a little bit of farming there. And coming up, we have super jumps. So you've already seen one. That's how we got that blue suit we had earlier on the way into Lower Norfair. But this,
watch this,
is a little wonky. So that was a super jump. What happens is when you activate X-ray on the frame that knockback ends, which also has to be the frame that you land, so very precise, you enter X mode. Some interesting things that you can do in X mode are arm pump to move. You can only arm pump to move. So we use that like right here just a little bit to change our position to set up for our super jumps. And then the other thing that we're going to use it for mostly is the super jump itself. So when you set off a vertical shine spark during X mode, you don't initially move at all, but what happens is you're increasing your vertical speed by a rate of 7 pixels per frame. And so you end up charging up this huge vertical speed that we're just going to unleash to go flying. We end that by being stuck on a particular frame or on a particular pixel, getting locked to the floor, and that's what stores a blue suit. So we're able to chain these together all over the place because we just keep getting blue suits after setting off a super jump and then using them for another super jump or converting it to a spike suit all over the place.
I sense our host might have some interesting news.
Looks like Save the Animals has pulled ahead. We, in fact, have a $50 donation from the Animals. They say, please save us. Crowd, how are y'all feeling about that? Well, no booing me. Get your phones out and donate to kill the animals here. Let's do it.
So we're grabbing our high jump boots. We're going to need that to get through Meridia because, like I said before, we're not getting gravity suit at all in this run. And we're going to need to be able to use our jump height in places. Another thing that we're going to need is the ice beam. So we're going to grab that on the way out. Ice beam is a little important in Meridia, but mostly important for Torian. So we have to have that in order to kill the Metroids. You can kill them with 3 power bombs each, but that takes way too long. So we'd rather just freeze them once and then hit them with either 5 missiles or a super. We're going to use supers in this case because it's fast. So we've got our ice beam, and now we are headed to Meridia.
Just want to let you know the push to save the frame still continues unabated. We have $25 from non-binary code, love the name, saying hello from the audience. I was absolutely going to skip to save the animals, but the piranha plant on my arm insisted I save the frames. Rude. Thank you so much.
This is a really long elevator. I don't like them.
They're all long.
So we're going to backdoor into Meridia here. So this bug needs to be frozen in a very particular position, and then we have the bug under the gate, and then we trick the game into thinking we're on top of the bug, and that triggers a failsafe because the game now thinks that we're under the gate. So in order to keep us from being stuck in the gate, it just opens the gate for us. We took damage in that door to set off another one of those X-ray sparks and get across this room really fast. And now we are going to pick up an item that we definitely should not have yet. We're sort of traversing Meridia a little bit backwards. So we're going to use a super jump here to get into an area that should be locked until we kill Dragon.
We supered entirely out of the room, in fact.
Yeah, so it should be noted we're not actually ever going out of bounds. We're staying in bounds the whole time, but we are clipping through a lot because we need this plasma beam. It's going to allow us to do some pretty interesting things later because you're not supposed to have it during Dragon, and so we can do some neat things. But we're on our way out. And we've got another area we're not supposed to be in that we kind of want to get into. But first we're going to do a little super jump and store another blue suit. So we're going to use that in the next room. What we're going to do is we're going to set off at one of those X-ray sparks and spark towards this locked door. This door also being locked until you kill Dragon. And then we release it in a door check. We clip just partway in and then they grab the transition blocks with that door check. And that allowed us to skip the Botwoon mini-boss. So no mini-bosses here.
And some really fun-looking wall climbing.
Yeah, so underwater wall jumps without gravity suit are super tight. TAS can abuse being able to press left and right at the same time to make those quite a bit easier. There are a couple interesting runners that are able to do those, but it is pretty much not something that you can do in most runs that involve suitless Meridia. You're not going to see underwater wall jumping. But anyway, so we got that spike suit on the way out. We converted it to a blue suit. That's going to be real important for getting out of Dragon in just a minute. But until then, we have to fight Dragon, and we're just going to do it up here because we want to stay close to this door so we can get back out.
Yeah, there's no particular reason to get down in the action.
Nah, we're going to abuse the fact that Plasma Beam, the game doesn't think we should have it here, so we're going to abuse the fact that it passes through enemies, and then we're also going to use, you'll notice X-ray scope is selected up there. So what we're doing is we're going to activate X-ray scope and freeze that shot and Dragon in the same place. But Dragon's iframes from the shot will keep depleting, and so we're able to effectively turn X-ray scope on and off to keep damaging Dragon with that same shot and kill it with just one shot.
It works just like the Mega Man 1 Plus trick.
Hey, I got a quick donation, that's okay?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, we got $25 from Tornado Owl. Their comment reads, "It's not called Awesome Animals Save Quick." That's a mood. That's a mood. The gap between save and kill, around $1,000. How can we let that happen, Speed Friends? All across the world, listen to the sound of my voice. Get those donations in, put towards saving the frames. Let's do it for PCF, everybody. Let's keep it going.
So we saw one of those X mode moving hang with arm pumps. We call it Jesus walking because we're walking on water. What we're going to do here is we're setting off a diagonal super jump and then storing it by landing on that ledge. And then we just use it to clip through all of those blocks so that we don't have to go all the way around. That takes too long. So pretty cool being in this area in general. So most runs don't come through here, and wow, see, that's an elevator. Why can't we do all of them like that, right? So yeah, we're in an area of the game that most runs don't come through. We call this the Forgotten Highway, forgotten for a reason. There's really not very many runs that come through this area, map completion being the main one. I think RBO might as well. So it's kind of cool that we get to showcase this area of the game that most people don't ever get to see. And there's one of the few normal Shine Sparks that we do in this run. There's a couple more coming up. But what we need now is we need to get into the wreck ship and we need to kill Phantoon so that we can get into Torian. Another one of those tiny little optimizations. When your health hits 29 during a normal Shine Spark, you automatically enter in the crash animation and the Shine Spark ends. So we hit 29 health just before you actually hit the door, just to end that Shine Spark just a little bit sooner. So we're coming up on Phantoon here. We're going to abuse that X-ray and plasma combination that we call the microwave beam, my favorite beam. You do actually get to use that in RTA a little bit, but only in certain categories. My favorite being GT Classic. But there you go. That's a one-round Phantoon, folks.
And of course, it's a fast.
Of course, it's a fast.
And we got some nice single room speed charges too, so that we can speedball out of this instead of just into it.
Yeah, so if you're not familiar, Phantoon is the bane of many runners. Is super RNG heavy and can kill a lot of runs. So to be able to get rid of it that fast is just, it's like catharsis.
And another spark ending with by hitting 29 in health in a very specific place so that we can build up some more speed before going into there and doing that jump.
Yep, have a very specific amount of speed to be able to clear that moat and bounce at the end specifically to correct the door transition. So all we've got left to do now is we've got to go down to G4 and then we're on to Torian. So now is a great time for more donations.
Oh, thank you so much, Zoe. We got $1,000 from Hollow. They say I got an email from TASBot while watching this run. He says wasting CPU cycles on saving imaginary organic beings is disgraceful. Save the frames.
That's a mood.
And speaking of frames, we have $50 from the frames. They say, hey, don't listen to those silly animals. Save me instead. I am way cooler and way faster. And let's see. We're around 600 and change, the gap. And the time, we're going to be closing out this bid war pretty soon, so everybody. So if you want to make this one for the ages, once again, get those donations in. And why is Samus floating?
So we did a moonfall here, and we're using that uninterruptible turnaround animation again. At the end of each turnaround, we're gaining a little bit of vertical speed, not really much. We're building it up though, and by continuing to turn around, we're not hot landing. Because that landing animation would have to interrupt our uninterruptible turnaround. But we're going to do that. We're not actually going to clip through anything. We're just going to fall really fast right now.
All those micro optimizations do add up, and it's one of the reasons that this newer task by Sniq outpaced the previous one by how much? Per minute, I believe.
I don't actually know. It's huge. But anyone familiar with Super Metroid speedrunning would probably know that coming into Torian with this kind of resources, that low of health, and so little ammo, is terrifying. So we absolutely have to have full ammo and at least 301 health to be able to survive Rainbow Beam. And these Metroids are the only things that we can get drops from. So at this point, we're done. That's all the drops we can get. So we've got 333 health, 15 missiles, and 10 supers. So it's exactly what we needed. That drop manipulation at work. So now we're going to get to see that little baby. Anybody remember the little baby from the beginning of the game? The little baby's jacked, man.
All grown up.
And it wants to give us a hug. But we really don't have time to stop and give it a hug, so we're gonna go.
It's a spicy hug. We don't want that.
So TASBot doing the baby skip in a way that only TASBot could ever dream of doing, just absolutely blazing past it with the sheer power of arm pumps. So normally we would, in RTA, we can skip the baby as well, but it involves doing some jump roping around the baby. And it takes a little longer. But we're going to clip through this Zepatite, and that keeps all of the rest of the Zepatites from spawning. And now we have to unload all of that ammo that we got into Mother Brain's head.
All right, I'm supposed to tell you that the bid war is about to come to a close. It will end when it says time remaining after the Mother Brain fight. So, get that in.
So you'll notice we ran into Mother Brain's head. That seems like a really dangerous thing to do, seeing as how we absolutely need our health here. But what we did was we stored a Shine Spark as a spike suit. And that's going to be coming in really handy after this phase 2 of the fight. So normally between phase 2 and phase 3, there's a long cutscene where you're stuck to the ground. And we have a way, RTA, to be able to stand up during that cutscene, but we can't really do that in any percent because it involves having a lot more energy. So we need 4 more energy tanks to be able to do that. So instead, we're going to set off a Shine Spark right there. And when we come out of this rainbow beam, we're for some reason going to still be Shine Sparking. And that keeps us from getting stuck to the ground right here.
You know, we were able to charge that by running against Mother Brain's head at the end of phase 1.
Yeah. So we're going to move around in some really kind of random ways. It seems random, but it's actually very specific. Right now, we are moving in very specific ways and being in very specific positions so that we can manipulate Mother Brain's head. We want it to curl back like it's doing right now as she's stepping back instead of after she steps back, and that gets her to sit down a lot faster. So little micro optimizations like that. And then there are some certain points that we need to be off the ground. We've already passed those points. You could get stuck to the ground. Hound, if you weren't... Oh, kill just came in. My guys.
Woo! In the
Kill those
last
animals.
few seconds, too.
All right, so
Right?
you'll notice we're taking damage from Mother Brain. We need to be able to drop the charge shots directly on Mother Brain's head because the baby is around us right now. And if the baby finishes filling up our health, you'll see it just started detaching from us. If it detaches too far to the left or too high up, we'll be stuck in a soft lock. So we've been able to do damage that whole time, and now once we get Hyper Beam, it's just one shot.
And more one-room speed charges just because we can.
Just because we can. And we didn't need that health anyways.
And that is time. Or not the run, not the run. That's the time for the bid war.
And thanks to that last-minute snipe, tonight we are saving the frames! And keep clapping, because AGDQ 2024 has raised over $750,000 for the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Let's go!
What was the total on save versus kill, by the way?
I just refreshing that. Thank you everybody for contributing for that single bid war. $43,920.71. Thanks for playing. See you next mission. That was amazing, y'all. It was amazing.
Absolutely amazing.
And Stump, I need to call time for us.
Time.
All right. I barely had time to say that. So stay tuned for the interesting amount left over of, the interesting completion percentage, especially for beating the run this quickly. Hey, there's a bunch of people I need to thank. So many that I don't even have time for all of it. But here's the key things. First of all, in my capacity as senior ambassador for the TAS Videos website, where Sniq published this tool-assisted speedrun, please come on over to TASVideos.org. You can find more tool-assisted speedruns just like this. It's never too late to get involved in tool-assisted speedrun creation. Lots of people there to help you out with that. If you want to be involved in making runs happen at live events just like this, head on over to discord.gg/TASBot. Gotta love getting backwards. Oh, by the way, the operation was complete. The completed successfully clear time is 20 minutes.
20 minutes in-game time.
Yep, pretty crazy.
Absolutely insane. I think the TAS timing for this run was like 32 minutes and something.
Yep, task timing in RTA can be a little bit different. Okay,
Yeah.
Really quick. We have a bunch of very awesome stuff going on. First of all, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is the 10-year anniversary of TASBot runs at Games Done Quick. The very first run was the Summer Games Done Quick 2011 with the NES bot for Micro 500 and Dark Cobalt and a couple other folks. But I started doing these in 2014, AGDQ 2014. It has been an amazing run. If you want to see a video that talks about the history of that and talks about how these Games Done Quick TAS blocks started, head on over to youtube.com/dwangoAC. I just posted a video today about that. It's awesome. Also, don't forget to stay tuned because I'm fairly certain that we have some other fun surprises for later. Oh, one last thing I almost forgot. The run that just preceded us was done by CZR. That was a TAS TM32 replay device that was created by Onosaurus and Rasteri and the Moss 3212, some other folks in the community. You can also head on over to discord.gg/TASBot and get that kind of hardware as well. I think that's it. DarkXoa, anything else?
Shirt.
Ah, yes, don't forget, the Yeti. They have the cutest t-shirt ever. You gotta get that thing. And all the proceeds from that go to I'm sorry, I said it again. Go to the Prevent Cancer Foundation. Stump, anything else? Nothing else? All right, and host, are we watching for Deer Force or not? I think the audience wants Deer Force.
All right, we'll make it happen. Deer Force too.
One other special thanks for myself. Thank you very much to Brewmaster Kim, who helped me get here. Thank you so much. I'm going to be very happy with how TASBot worked out. If you haven't seen his new form, he was built by Dr. D2K9, based on a design by Conflurpin, eyes by Blaster Mac, code by Mirbro, and recently inverted. HRI made the graphics for the screen. Huge credit to Balthazar for the tracker code. The Deer Force! And with that, I'm dwangoAC. Thank you so much for sticking around.
I'm DarkXoa. Thanks so much for having me.
I'm Stump. Thanks
Samus
so much.
is a yes. And with that, this concludes the task block for AGDQ 2024. Thank you so much.